I was talking last time about the concept of election or choice, God's choice of Israel, Israel as the chosen one, which occurs for the first time in the book of Deuteronomy. And I was talking about the fact that for Deuteronomy, the election of Israel, God's election of Israel means or entails the idea that Israel is a holy people, holy in the sense of separated to God, right? That root meaning of holiness, which means to be separated from the common or the ordinary. So that separation entails separation from alien peoples and practices that are inconsistent with the worship of God. So for this reason, intermarriage with the Canaanites is prohibited in Deuteronomy. And in fact, they are to be utterly destroyed. All alien practices are to be removed from the covenant community. Now, given that there were probably no Canaanites at the time of Deuteronomy's composition, according to some scholars, these texts may be understood as a kind of internal polemic against those elements of Israelite society whose practices didn't conform to Deuteronomy's Yahweh-only policy or Yahweh-only ideals. This is an idea we'll come back to in a minute. I just want to throw it out here. Separation entails also separation to God's service. That means, of course, the observance of his laws, especially the laws of purity, the rejection of pagan practices, and so on. So the privilege of having been chosen or singled out, of being a holy people to God, entails obligations and responsibility. At the same time, it's interesting that Deuteronomy seems to be aware of some of the dangers in this idea. The danger of a superiority, sort of a superiority complex, a moral danger involved in the notion of election. So Deuteronomy warns repeatedly, it is by no special virtue or merit that Israel was the one chosen. And Moses admonishes the Israelites not to suppose that their inheritance of the land of Canaan is due to their own powers or on account of any righteousness or virtue that they possess. In fact, he says, far from it. Israel was chosen by Yahweh as in an act of spontaneous love. It does not imply her perfection. An act of spontaneous love for the patriarchs. And the election was entirely God's initiative and is no cause for Israel to boast. So in Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 6 to 8 read, "For you are a people consecrated, made holy, to the Lord your God. Of all the peoples on earth, the Lord your God chose you to be his treasured people. It's not because you are the most numerous of peoples that the Lord set his heart on you and chose you. Indeed, you are the smallest of peoples, but it was because the Lord favored you and kept the oath he made to your fathers, that the Lord freed you with a mighty hand and rescued you from the house of bondage, from the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt." So don't be tempted, Moses later warns the Israelites, don't be tempted to say to yourselves, this is in Deuteronomy 8:17, "My own power and the might of my own hand have won this wealth for me." Or again to say in Deuteronomy 9, verse 4, "The Lord has enabled us to possess this land because of our virtues." On the contrary, he emphasizes it's only because the wickedness of the Canaanites is so great that the Lord has to drive them from his land, and now he's giving you a chance. But it's conditional for you, just as it was for them. Don't fail him, or he will drive you out, just as he drove out the Canaanites. That's a theme in Deuteronomy. We're going to see in a moment how important that is, or in a few lectures, how important that idea is for the Deuteronomistic historian in general. But we'll get there.